Hey everybody, this is actually the first ever episode of the Bourbon Pour. I'm Jordan.
I'm Brian.
And we're going to talk to you a little bit about an event that Brian came up with last year for Seymour Main Street. Both Brian and I are board members for Seymour Main Street. Brian chairs the promotions committee, and last year Brian came up with the Bourbon Pour. And so Brian, tell us a little bit about the Bourbon Pour and then a little bit about this year's. And then I'll get started on pouring some of these here. We've got something really cool to share a little bit later on.
So just real quick, as far as the event goes, I went to a national conference. I came back, and basically from a couple of those sessions, I got tasked with bringing some new events into our Main Street area, downtown area. And this was one of the events I came up with, was to have a bourbon tasting. Might appeal to more of a male demographic that sometimes that's lacking in our downtown. We have a lot of boutiques and things like that, but not so much towards the men's side. So I came up with this event. Started out, it was going to be very small. We were shooting for about 30 to 35 people. And then we opened up the tickets, and we had 50 people that were lined up ready to get tickets. So we had to reevaluate, and ended up we had about 125 people that showed up at the event. We had an executive bourbon steward that talked through the event and lucked into having the SLB, Kurt from SLB, and his brother Kent. They came down, and we had a really good time.
Super cool.
It turned out really nice. We're doing it again, so we're having our second annual Bourbon Pour, which will be coming up on April 5th. Tickets just went up for sale, so they're on. You can go to the Seymour Main Street website, or you could find it on Facebook. There's an event page posted, and you can get the tickets and come join us.
Yeah, and we're gonna have that link to the tickets in the description. Like Brian said, that's April 5th, 6:30 p.m. is when the general public will start, and it's gonna be at the Knights of Columbus in downtown Seymour. Always a really cool event. Always. Last year was a cool. Last year was a cool event. This year is going to be a super cool event. And on to what we're doing here, and why we're filming this video is new to this year's event. We added a barrel pick. We went over to with our sponsors for the event, who we need to thank. We went over with them to pick a barrel at New Riff Distilling in Newport, Kentucky. Did that a few weeks ago. And these are the samples that we actually got to thieve out of the barrel that we picked and got to bring home. And we got started on that. Brian and I were kind of joking last fall, I think, about maybe doing a barrel pick. And we said, boy, wouldn't that be cool? And that takes a lot of financial investment. So we kind of just said maybe a future year or whatever. Well, we started talking to the executive director of Seymour Main Street, Bree Roll, and she was super supportive and said, hey, go explore it, ask the board if they'll allow you to do it. And thankfully our board did allow us to do it. Brian, I think we probably need to give a shout out to our sponsors for the event this year. So
yeah, we actually have several. So we have Vic's Liquors. They were with us last year, as well as Beatty Insurance. And then we have Nitec, Roger Wessel with Berkshire Hathaway, and then Rob Schwartz, Schwartz Contracting, and Gerkers Construction.
Yeah, and Polish Creek.
Yep,
they're kind of. We have a lot of sponsors.
Thankfully, probably should have wrote those down.
Yeah, thankfully we have a lot of support, and we have so much support that it's kind of hard sometimes to just rattle them off your head when you're filming a video. But let's get on to this this barrel pick. So this is comes out of New Riff Distilling, out of Newport, Kentucky. I believe it's a tick over 111 proof.
111 proof. Yeah. Right under, or maybe it was 112.
Right. Yeah. Somewhere in that range. And obviously we're drinking out of these Glencairns. You probably can't see it, but this has the logo of this year's Seymour Main Street Bourbon Pour. It's even back here.
And that's what one of the things you'll get if you come join us at our event.
Yeah. So let's start with the nose here. And Brian, I know I texted you shortly after we got done with the pick, and I came home and I had another pour of this, and I kind of smelled the beach, kind of like
something. It's kind of an oily, viscous, like a not coconut oil, but I don't know what you're. I get what you're saying.
Something like that. I remember
along that line.
Yeah, I remember like being a kid. We always would go to Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and in the summertime, and we'd walk out on the boardwalk to the beach. Our hotel was right on the beach, and this is for some reason just kind of smells like that. Normally, I don't get that way with aromas, but
I get like a kind of a candy. Licorice type smell.
I definitely can
and
see
I remember from the last taste I had of it, I definitely got that in the taste. But yeah, it's just got a great nose on it.
Do you get a little like kind of like a hay or like an alfalfa kind of thing? Like I said, I'm usually not weird with aroma notes. I don't.
You definitely get something that's not earthy's not the right word, but something along the line.
Kind of like a dryish kind of thing.
Hay. Yeah, I can see that.
Let's go on and take a sip. Man, that hit you. And really, don't let that proof number scare you if you're not into high proof. I really don't think it drinks that hot.
No.
I think it's probably more in the 100 range, and it's got a great vanilla and spearmint kind of flavor for me.
Definitely get vanilla. When you first initially take the first sip, it does kind of pack a little bit of spice bite on your tongue, on your lips.
Yeah.
But it stays there, and then when it goes down, you don't feel any of the burn.
Right.
It's a very smooth, very smooth drink.
It's kind of a Kentucky half hug, right?
Yeah.
But New Riff is such a good distillery. It's one I've been a fan of. I'm really glad that our first pick was with them. Of course, this way you can get your hands on this bottle. We'll have information about that at the event, or when you order your ticket, you'll see how you can obtain a bottle. If not, just reach out to me or Brian or Seymour Main Street. We'll be able to get with you. But I mean, I think this is fantastic.
Yeah, and it was the one thing that amazed me is obviously that they say it's single barrel. But the difference in all the different barrels that we tasted, it was so extreme. For the same bourbon.
Yeah. So we had an opportunity to taste, and we'll put a photo on the screen here. 5 different samples that literally, when you go to the distillery, if you don't know what a barrel pick is, we went in, we took a tour of the rick house, and we went into this really awesome room, and they had 5 samples already out for us from 5 different single barrels in the rick house, and basically we nosed and tasted each of them like we just did here, made notes and discussed it as a group, and landed on, I think we had about 3 of them that were front runners.
I think when it came all the way down to it, all of our bourbon experts that went with us, I think we ended up with 7 of the 8 or 9 that we had that was there. That came up with this one as their number 1, and then the other 2 had this as number 2. So it was definitely a front runner.
And it all varies out of a single barrel. One of them, I remember, one of the guys said smelled like paint thinner. We didn't want to put a bottle out like that. One
was really oaky,
and one had a lot of smoke to the nose and smoke to the palate.
I didn't get any smoke on that. I do get some oak on this.
Yeah, good
vanilla. It's just a really good mixture.
Yeah, oak in a good way. Don't be afraid. Some people don't like that oak. It's not heavily oaked, but you do know it's there.
Definitely.
Great. Well, we really hope that you join us for this year's Bourbon Pour. Once again, that's at 6:30 p.m. April 5th at the Knights of Columbus in downtown Seymour. Get your tickets on Untappd. We will have a link to tickets in the description here. That includes a 4 pours blind, an allocated pour. You even get dinner. You get to take home this Glencairn, and you get access to our awesome silent auction. Look for more information about our silent auction coming up. But with that, whether you're with your family or your friends, we really want to make sure that you share your whiskey.